Hello everybody, this is Shane Goulding. This is my quality of character presentation on accountability for MCAA 530 Dr. Dean Weisselmeyer. Let's get started here. I think the single most important quality for high-performing individuals and teams is accountability. It's why I picked this topic. I saw it and I said I want that one. I think it's so important because it has to come from the top. Accountability almost never starts at the bottom. It needs to come from the leaders. The team needs to see the leaders take accountability and say, hey, I made mistakes before anybody else will. Mahatma Gandhi said this: it is wrong and immoral to escape the consequences of one's acts. So we can't escape what we've done. It's happened. We need to take ownership and take accountability. Webster defines accountability as an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. I like this definition because it incorporates responsibility, which accountability and responsibility for me are very similar. In my definition, it's very simple. You see it there on the screen: take blame and place credit. Once we start to do this, you'll start to see the people, your team, your athletes, your constituents kind of respond to that. Before you take accountability, I think there are three things that are very crucial. You need to know your role. You need to know the expectations that have been put on you by the powers that be, and you need to know the rules. If you don't know those three things, you can't take accountability. I can't take accountability for a job that I don't know I'm supposed to be doing. I can't take accountability for the expectations that somebody has put on me that I didn't know that they were put on me, and I can't take accountability for breaking a rule that I didn't know existed. Those are the first three and very key things before we take accountability. In Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, there's a situation he talks about where he's at a seminar, the young man, and they're talking about relationships. And as we all know, in leadership, it's all about relationships. This question is asked: what percentage of shared responsibility do you have in making a relationship work? All the answers came out, 51-49, 50-50, 60-40. But in reality, the answer is 100%. He goes on to say in the book, you have to be willing to give 100% with zero expectation of receiving anything in return. Only when you are willing to take 100% responsibility for making a relationship work, will it work. So as we all know, we need to give 100% to other people. In the same way, we need to take 100% accountability, responsibility for that relationship to work. Why is it so hard to take accountability? It's easy to say, hey, you need to take accountability for your actions, but in reality, it's very difficult for people to do this. It's very much human nature to avoid an uncomfortable situation, and when we make a mistake and everybody's asking questions, it's tough to say, yeah, that was my fault. It's easier to say, hey, well, no, it was their fault, point the finger and have everybody else look at them. So I'm going to read this passage from the Coach's Bible, FCA's Coach's Bible. It's a devotional here in the back, April 3rd's devotional. It's finger pointing in the blame game. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3. Did you eat from the tree that I had commanded you not to eat from? Then the man replied, the woman you gave to be with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate. So the Lord God asked the woman, what is this you have done? The devotional goes on to say, as an English teacher, I instruct my students to look for symbols in literature. As a basketball coach, I often use symbols from literature to teach my players, such as Genesis 3:11, where God asks Adam and Eve if they have eaten the forbidden fruit. Instead of telling the truth and asking for forgiveness, Adam blamed both God and Eve. When God asked Eve the same question, she blamed the snake. Since then, mankind has been pointing fingers and playing the blame game. So, as it says right here in the good book, people have been doing it from day one. It's very, very hard to take accountability. The bonus is, once accountability starts to happen, again, from the top down, it snowballs. Everybody starts to take accountability. Nobody wants to be the guy that says, yeah, it was all you guys. And this is a video from Steve Young, giving a very good example of that.
I threw 202 interceptions in my career. 202 times I dropped back to pass. Remember, the quarterback is the guy that has the ball in his hands. I threw it to the other team. 202 times. I don't remember each one of them, but each one was painful. And when you throw the interception, what happens is all 11, 10 of your other teammates on the field turn to you at once. You that are in management positions know exactly what this is like. Something's gone wrong. Everyone else in the building turns to you and says, why? Why did you do that? Why did you throw it to him? Of all the things that you could have done, why did you throw it to him? I mean, throw it away. Throw it to the dirt. Throw it in the sky. But why throw it to the other team? Why did you do it? What do you usually do? In business, you would list all the mitigating, intervening circumstances that led to this horrible event. Right? You would list them. Because it's not like I dropped back and meant to throw it to the other team. I didn't mean to do it. So many times in business, does something go wrong, you're responsible, and now you want to list the intervening circumstances that happen. Of course you do. Because you didn't mean to have this horrible thing happen. So I would list them. Wow, the sun got my eyes, and the ball was wet, and you hit me just your guy hit me, the guy turned the wrong way, and I threw it inside, he was supposed to go outside. Well, what happened is guys would go to the sidelines, the coach would say, what happened out there? Oh, Steve Young, not as good as Joe Montana, you know? He can't quite cut it. There's no accountability here, no accountability. What I learned to do over time when I throw an interception is tell them, hey, look, when they turn back to me, why did you do that? I learned at the moment of truth in a leadership position, what you have to do is take accountability. You know what? I screwed it up. I screwed it up. But I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to the sidelines. We're going to get a drink of water. We're going to rest up. We'll come back on the field. We'll go down and win the game. What do you say? Inevitably, there was energy in the group. They'd go to the sidelines. The coach would say, what happened out there? Well, coach, I let the guy come in and hit Steve just as he was throwing, and the receiver, yeah, I turned the wrong way. I was supposed to turn the other way. Suddenly, accountability was infused into the system. And suddenly, we had an ability to go win the football game. I find it one-to-one relationship in private equity. I find it one-to-one relationship in my own family, my own marriage. Accountability at the key moments. When you had the ball in your hands, when you're the quarterback, you better turn and take accountability. I had the ball in my hands. It's now in their hands. It's my fault. I don't want to list all the mitigating circumstances, because the truth is, we'll get to that. At the moment of truth, I'm responsible. People respond to that.
You know, as he says in here, people respond to that right at the end. He says that people respond to it, and that you'll get to those reasons. But at the time, somebody needs to step up and say, no, this was my fault, and own it. Before others can say, you know what, yeah, you're right, I didn't do my part here. But if you're just pointing the finger, nobody will take accountability. Bruce Brown, in Teaching Character Through Sports, says athletes want a model and not a motto. Maybe this is why Tom Brady right there he's so good, is because he's a model on and off the field. How do you spend your time? Time to me is very important. I love my family. I love my fiance. I'm very excited to be getting married this next year, and how you spend your time is very important to me. And if I'm spending my time saying, hey, you need to be accountable, and I spend my time not being accountable, I can't expect anything in return. If I'm not modeling what I'm saying, if my actions don't match my words, then nothing else matters. The Leadership Challenge, written by Kuznis and Posner, they have this quote in there: how you spend your time is the single clearest indicator of what's important to you. So if I'm never spending time at home, but I say family is important to me, I'm lying. If I say accountability is important to me, and I'm never hold myself accountable, I'm lying. In conclusion, I've got just 4 keys. Take blame and place credit. Very simple, very hard to do. Know your role, give 100%, and model the behavior. Very simple. Here are my references. They're in the PowerPoint. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.